The storm arrived without warning. One moment, the rural town of Hollow Creek basked under a calm summer sky. The next, the wind howled like a banshee, whipping the trees into a frenzy. Rain lashed down in heavy sheets, blurring the world beyond the windows. Inside, Eleanor, engrossed in a book, barely registered the storm's fury. The wind shrieked around the house, rattling the windows. Thunder cracked, shaking the very foundation. Eleanor noticed the power flicker. The lights dimmed, then died completely, plunging the house into darkness. The storm was now a raging beast, and she was trapped in its belly. She fumbled for her phone. No signal, of course. She was alone, cut off from the outside world. The darkness was absolute, suffocating. Eleanor felt her way to the fireplace, her hands brushing against the rough stone. Finding a box of matches, she struck one, the tiny flame a fragile defense against the encroaching shadows. The storm raged outside, the wind howling its mournful song. Each gust seemed to whisper her name, a menacing caress. She lit a few candles, their flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the walls. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on her. She tried to rationalize her fear. It was just a storm, it would pass. But deep down, a primal instinct warned her that something was wrong, terribly wrong. A low groan echoed from somewhere within the walls, a sound that seemed to come from the very bowels of the house. Eleanor froze, her blood turning to ice. She strained to hear over the roar of the wind, her heart pounding in her ears. There it was again, a soft whisper, barely audible. It was not the sound of the wind, it was something else, something ancient and evil. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, scratching at the edges of her sanity. Voices from nowhere, murmuring her name, their tone laced with a chilling malice. Eleanor backed away, her eyes darting around the room, searching for the source of the sound. But there was nothing there. A flash of lightning momentarily illuminated the room, and in that brief, blinding light, she saw it. A fleeting glimpse of a figure reflected in the old, tarnished mirror above the fireplace, tall and skeletal, its eyes burned with a cold, malevolent light. Eleanor gasped, stumbling back, knocking over a candle in her haste. Darkness descended once more, but the image was seared into her mind. She knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that she was not alone. The storm had brought something with it, something evil had awakened. She remembered the stories her grandmother used to tell about Hollow Creek, tales whispered around fireplaces on stormy nights, tales of a devastating storm that had ravaged the town decades ago, a storm unlike any other, one that had claimed the lives of several townspeople, their bodies never found. They said the storm had a mind of its own, that it chose its victims, swallowing them whole. Eleanor had dismissed them as old wives' tales, but now, trapped in the heart of this raging tempest, those stories returned to haunt her. The whispers, the shadows, the fleeting glimpse of the figure in the mirror, it all pointed to a truth too terrifying to comprehend. The storm wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was something more, something sinister. Each thunderclap seemed to echo her grandmother's words. The storm takes what it wants. It always comes back for more. Fear, raw and primal, coiled in the pit of her stomach. This storm, this entity, it was here for her. It was here for... Another ear-splitting crack of thunder shook the house, closer this time, as if the storm itself was drawing breath. The air grew heavy, charged with a malevolent energy. The whispers intensified, swirling around her like a vortex of despair. Panic welled up inside her, threatening to consume her. She had to get out, had to escape the clutches of this nightmare. But the storm raged outside, a furious barrier between her and the outside world. She was trapped, a prisoner in her own home. Then, in a blinding flash of lightning, the entity appeared. No longer a fleeting reflection, it stood before her, tall and skeletal. Its eyes, two burning embers of hate, bored into her soul. Eleanor screamed, a primal shriek lost in the roar of the storm. The entity was upon her, its icy grip closing around her throat. The storm raged on, swallowing her screams. The entity, as ancient and unstoppable as the storm itself, had won.